Mr. Varner, and I don't much like being recorded, so I don't know how long this video is going to be, and I've never really done it, so hopefully I get the information that you need to make you feel comfortable with understanding myself as well as my classes. My name's Mr. Varner, and I teach AP Psychology, regular psychology, as well as sociology. A little bit about me. I am from Ventura, it's where I grew up, and I grew up right by the beach, and it was pretty cool living there. I still like to go back and visit. I have family there, and that's where I graduated high school in 1995. Now I live in the desert, so I'm not quite sure who I upset many years ago. I'm just kidding. I do love it here as well. But it's nice to visit the cooler ocean breeze. I always tell the students that I was not really that much into education, so the fact that I'm a teacher is kind of funny because immediately following high school, I went into the United States Army where I was in the 101st Airborne. That's a picture of me, much leaner, younger, and full of wonderment. I jumped out of airplanes and I rappelled out of helicopters, and that was pretty much all we did. So when my time was up with that, I decided to move home and start college. I started off at Ventura College, where I ran into a buddy of mine that suggested I come out and help coach football, and I had never thought about doing that, even though I had played my entire life. I just didn't think I wanted to work with kids. Clearly, it didn't work out that way. So I decided to become a teacher, as well as a football coach. I've got 5 kids, that's right, 5, so it takes up a lot of my time, particularly with this distance learning from my wife, who's also in education. You know, as the internet's running fine, and as the computer and software is running fine, everything's good, but unfortunately that doesn't always happen. Before here, I spent 13 years as a teacher and coach at Canyon High School, and I'm coming up on my 5th year at West Ranch. The reason I transitioned was to become the head football coach here, but I love and absolutely love teaching at Canyon as well as here. For the class, well, I mean, these rules are a little bit different now. Cell phones often, but there's no real way for me to know that. I do ask to be on time. That makes it easier, particularly because with the distance learning, I don't necessarily know if somebody came on late if they don't let me, or if they don't make me aware of the fact that they came into the class late. So I ask to be on time because I take roll almost immediately. Now, the deal is if they do for some reason, and this does happen, they have to come in late, then I just ask they email me separately. Because I don't always see the alert or the announcement that they came in because I'm looking at other things in terms of running the class. So if ever your student or your child is late, if they email me, then I will not mark them absent. If they don't alert me, then I mark them absent just because I have no way of verifying that they were actually indeed in the class if they were not there for roll. I ask that all my students be prepared in terms of what they will need in order to do. Other than that, I'm not too much of a stickler because I know this is a little bit of a unique situation that we find ourselves in with this distance learning. A couple things about this class. Whether you are in the AP or the regular psychology or sociology, a lot of them are run very, very similarly. We do have journals, which are a little bit different now because of the distance learning. Sometimes I'll put up an article and I'll ask them to read it. Go through it, annotate it, kind of find a good source of information. Sometimes I'll just pose a question and see if we can get a discussion going on that. And other times I'll maybe play a YouTube video or some other sort of video to see if we can stimulate some dialogue that way. I really believe in trying to have my students learn for themselves and to break out of the compartmentalization that sometimes standard education forces them in. This class is a lot of free thinking. We obviously have standards that we abide by in terms of psychology and sociology, but a lot of it is subjective interpretation. I really want them to think for themselves and not just regurgitate the information that they maybe have received from me or their book. I think that does a disservice to the overall sort of well-being and health of what goes on. Many of the journals and lectures we talk about are things that have to do with mental health and wellness and mindfulness. I think it's very good that we have wellness centers. We've brought on motivational speakers and things like that in light of all the stuff that has happened in the last year. But what I try to do is not look at things in Band-Aid solution and sort of teach them that how to take responsibility for their own, not only mental health and wellness, but as well as their physical health and wellness, because I believe that they are very much intertwined. So we go over a lot of those different things. So odds are they may come home and talk about something, hopefully exciting or new that was able to help them explore and think for themselves on that. A big part of this class will be the lectures, particularly with the distance learning. It just makes it easier to get the information out. But there will be a lot of work where I'll release them to do it. I like to stay on with the Google Meet so they can come if they have any questions. I can help them. Tests are a little bit different here because my assumption is that if left to it, many of them will just simply cheat the answers and things like that. So I would prefer, as long as we're on the distance learning, to simply go through several test questions and make sure they understand the process towards solving those, not just getting the right answer, but how that right answer is correct. My expectation is that they have fun, they learn, and they be attentive. This class is only as fun as they participate in it. So I will oftentimes randomly call on them just to get them engaged. It is a little difficult. They got to stare at their screens for hours a day. I can only imagine how hard it is to listen to several teachers and several different points of fact and lectures. So I try to give them a little bit of a break here and there when I can. You can always get in touch with me at my email, which I had put up on the first slide. Let me pull it back up. There it is. So you can contact me at cvarner@heartdistrict.org. I do my best to get back as soon as possible, but again, with my own children at home, sometimes it may take me a day. I try to at least update grades once a week. I do my best to try and keep you guys as parents or guardians in the loop as to the progress of your child. If you have any questions about things, feel free once again to email me, and I will return your email as soon as possible. Thanks very much, and look forward to meeting some of you in person in the spring.